ever been in a situation when you didn't know what to do, and then, oh, well, of course you have, you're human. But then you tried to solve it by doing some stupid-ass, pathetic, okay, not so judgy, in a non-conventional sort of way, like holding your breath until you figured out what to do, or you faint. Okay, that's a little extreme. But like the I Ching. The I Ching is this 5,000-year-old divination process from China, and what you do is got a book, and you get some coins, and you ask a question, like, should I move in with Jason? And, oh no, it can't be a yes or no question, it has to be an open-ended. Okay, what would happen if I move in with Jason? And so then you toss your coins, and you do it like 6 times. And if, depending on how many heads or tails there are, you get like lines, dots, dashes, and you have this thing of 6 lines, dots, dashes, and it's a hexagram, and you go to the back of the book, and at the back of the book, there's this index that has like 4,306 possible answers, and you figure out which one is yours, and then you turn to the page with a corresponding hexagram, and then there's this poetic title that's like, desperation swims through my body like sewage. Okay, that's way too extreme. But it's more like distant thunder is calling you. And so you have your poetic thing, and then beneath it is your whole divination, and it's either so long and so cryptic that you have no idea what it means, or it's taken you so long to get there that you have forgotten what your question was in the first place. And really, all you wanted to know was, should I move in with Jason, yes or no? Which is why sometimes I am known to consult the magic 8-ball. Did you know that the 8-ball didn't start out as an 8-ball? It started out as a paperweight.
At this point,
Jenny
is 18, Johnny is 16, and James, the golden child, is 14. And Jess, the not-so-golden child, is also 14. She is 6 minutes younger than James.
And then interpret the marking.
James was the only one who could call her.
And so he wanted to make something as accurate as that, and he made a paperweight, which is basically like this long can of soup that was transparent on either end and filled with glass.
After the twins is Jules, the space cadet of the family. Earth Jules is what we would always say. She would always be lost in space.
And 75 years later, fast forward, it is now owned by Brentano.
After Jules,
at 1 million
12
units
is
a year. And the standard one has 20 possible answers to it. Okay. Don't ask how I know this. So anyway, there are 10 possible positive answers, and then there are 5 negative, and then there are 5 non-committal answers. Like, ask again later, or better not tell you now, or everybody's favorite, that's a dumbass question. So then it gets asked questions like at slumber parties now, should I give Jason a Valentine? Or, is my ass flat? Or, when will I find love? Like rom-com, Jennifer Aniston, Jane Austen kind of knock your socks off love. Do you think Albert Carter ever thought that his paperweight would be used by prepubescent girls and pathetic homosexuals? They're the same thing. But if you want something that is way more specific and direct, all you have to do is toss a coin. And I'm not talking 3 out of 5, no. 1 toss, this is what my sister Jess taught me. I don't know why I don't do it anymore. Anyway, you toss the coin, and as it is spinning in the air, you ask a question like, am I a loser? Okay. If you're trying to figure out if you're a loser by tossing a coin, don't bother, because you are one. Okay, you toss a coin, ask a question like, should I go to Cancun for Christmas? You catch it, flip it over, and then you ask. Then you say, hey, I'm going to Cancun. Tails, I'm not going to Cancun. You look, and it's Tails, you're not going to Cancun, and you think, shit, I really wanted to go. Well, that's your answer, not the coin. but your response to it. I mean, it's like what everybody was doing in the 90s. Okay, not everybody, but, mainly woo-woo California people. And what they were saying is, only do it if it is 100% yes. Like, 100% yes, I'm gonna quit my job and kill my children. I'm so sorry. But you know what I mean. I mean, it's like, I don't have 100% yes about anything. Except hate. Not like, I hate my father 100%. And even that isn't true, I don't think. I mean, I'm not sure. But that's what we want, isn't it? Surety. 100% surety. And yes, you can talk to your friends. You can talk to your family. You can talk to your psychiatrist. You can do a little pros and cons list, tick them off. But even after doing all that, you still may not have 100% surety, which is when all the games come out. Games to help you solve it, like the third person who comes in the bar, if they have a beard, then I'm going to go over and ask that really cute guy to dance. Or, sitting on the park bench, and you say to yourself, if a bird flies by from right to left, then I'm going to turn to Jason and say, I love you. But then a bird doesn't fly by. And so you don't ever say it. I used to do dowsing a lot. Dowsing is really, really woo-woo, but it also totally works. I mean, and it's good for you people who like a yes or no. So what you do is you get a string, and then you get a really heavy, no, not a really heavy object, not this heavy. You want to get something light, and tie it at the end of the string. And it has to be an important object, and so then you hold it really still, and you ask it your question, like, does the world suck? Okay. Way too subjective. A question like, do I have curly hair? And so then it starts to move in a pattern that's your yes pattern. And then you ask it an obvious no question like, am I Beyonce? And then it will move in a no direction. And in between, you have to bring it to stillness so that the pattern doesn't bleed into the other one. And because my hands shake too much, that's why I don't do this anymore. So now you have your yes or no pattern, and then you get to ask it your question, like, ooh, I'm a little nervous to hear what comes out of my mouth. Like, what would... Should I help my mother OD on morphine? Because if you're going to do that, you have to be 100% sure. And she has asked you over and over again. And she's in pain. And she has sworn you to secrecy, so you can't talk to anybody. Not your family or friends, nobody. And she's ready to leave. So then you make your choice. And that's when all the voices come out. And the voices, they don't come out for little things, like, should I wear my reindeer sweater to the Christmas party? Actually, I'd have voices for that. But, like big things, like, am I worthless? And then a voice says, no, you're not worthless. And another voice says, yes, you are. And whenever you open your mouth, you are, and you will be for the rest of your life, because you are, Blanche, you are. And then another voice says, really? Did you just say you are, Blanche? You are? You are quoting movies from the 50s that are black and white that only tired old queens know, and you wonder why you're still single. Oh, and another voice says, fuck you, asshole. And then here comes the cheerleader, and she's like, hey, everybody, let's just hold hands. We need to get acceptance here. So why don't we all just breathe in together, and we can sing Kumbaya. And then 1,000 voices come out. Ooh. And then finally, the voice at the back of the head says, now. And the cloud descends. The most powerful voice of them all. It's quiet, soft, and a little dangerous. It's like a hydrangea. I mean, not that hydrangeas are dangerous, but hydrangeas are these big, bushy flowers that are made up of hundreds and hundreds of tiny little flowers. And my cloud is made up of razor blades and broken glass, nails, a Swiss Army knife that's a 36 gadget sticking out of it. And when they all come together, it creates a blanket of cashmere and a Brillo pad combined, but without the pink stuff. And it is heavy and comfortable and calming, a little paralyzing, and so familiar. It's freeze, fight, flight, freeze. I'm not in it now. I just realized the first time the cloud showed up. This is my father, Jack Johnson. A classic, traditional, old-fashioned, sturdy, always ready to fulfill his duty, and strong, or impenetrable, depending on the day, and broken, with edges that can cut. But you would never know about that. He wouldn't let you see that. That was just reserved for a special few. This is my mother, Dorothea. Dot. But nobody ever called her that. Everybody called her JoJo. Nobody remembers how she got that name. And nobody remembers why she got that name. We all just know she got it after she met my father. I was sitting in church, waiting for the 9:30 service to begin. Daddy was preaching, so of course I had to be there, when someone sat down behind me, smelling of alcohol. I thought to myself, I want to know who that is. So I turned around, and there was your father smiling at me. She didn't see the early signs. But when do we ever see the red flags waving at us? You might have noticed that JoJo is bigger than Jack. She likes her bold, bright colors. This is Jenny. She's the oldest. And she comes from my mother, which is probably why they didn't get along. Jenny had no interest in being popular, which is another reason why they didn't get along. After Jenny is Jonathan. A chip off the old block, my father would always say. Jonathan hated it whenever we went into his room. So of course that meant we went in there all the time. And he always knew. He could tell when his things were out of place. Back then, we said that he was a neat freak. Now, OCD. At this point, Jenny is 18, Johnny is 16, and James, the golden child, is 14. And Jess, the not-so-golden child, is also 14. She is 6 minutes younger than James. James was the only one who could call her Jessie. And Jess was the only one who could call James Jamie. One of the many benefits of sharing an amniotic sleeping bag for 9 months. After the twins is Jules, the space cadet of the family. Eartha Jules is what we would always say. She would always be lost in space, like making up some weird puppet thing. After Jules, she's 12, is me. I'm 10 at this point. I'm last, and always introduced as last but not least. You might have noticed that there's a theme here. Jack and Jojo Johnson, Jenny Johnson, Johnny Johnson, a horrible thing to do to a boy. James and Jess Johnson, Jules Johnson, and me, Flynn. I am a Johnson on paper. My first name is Jeremiah, but when I was born, Jenny refused to have another J in the family, so she started calling me by my middle name, which is Franklin. And Jules, who was 2 at the time, couldn't pronounce Franklin, so she started calling me Flynn, Flynn, Flynn. And it stuck. I am the black sheep in the family, and it's not because I'm an F in a sea of J's, or because I'm a homosexual. It's because I don't own a TV. Jack, Jenny, Jack, Jojo, Jenny, I'm turning into my mother. Jack, Jojo, Jenny, Johnny, James, Jess, Jules, and Flynn. The Johnsons at 1312 Long Hollow Drive, Northwest Washington, D.C. Everybody knew our house because we had this huge tree in the front yard. Tallest maple in the whole block, Mother would always say. And then we would say, in the whole neighborhood. And then she would say, in the whole damn town. But every time she said it, she would say it differently. In the whole damn town. In the whole damn town. In the whole town. And it didn't matter how she said it. We would always laugh. Partly because of the game, but mainly because she was a PK. A preacher's kid. And it was so exciting to hear her say, damn. I don't know why they cut down Clarabelle. That's the name of the tree named by JoJo. She has a propensity to name things. I like to think that they had to cut it down. You know, like the city made them do it, or insurance, or the Harrisons next door were scared of falling on their house. But I think they did it because Clarabelle was too much trouble. And they didn't even tell us they were going to do it. I mean, it's like what happened with Piddles. Piddles McGee, our dog. Piddles didn't start out as Piddles. Piddles started out as Dr. Pepper, named by my mother. Dr. Pepper was a black standard poodle, and whenever anybody came in the front door, not the side door, the back door, the garage door, the porch door, no, only the front door, Dr. Pepper would come running up and would raise her leg like she was going to scratch, and then she would squat down and pee. And then my mother started calling her Piddles McGee. And that went on for a few months, and then she put a sign on the front door that said, "Do not come in the front door. I mean it. Use any other door!" Exclamation point. And that happened for like a year. And then we came home from school one day, and the sign was gone, and so was Piddles. I took her to a little farm where she could run around with other puppies and tinkle to her heart's content. That's the story my mother and father were telling us. But the story that my siblings said is that Piddles was too much trouble, so they put her down. So then, whenever we would get in trouble, we would say to each other, "Don't tell Mom or Dad, or they're going to send me to the farm." And then we would just start saying, "I'm going to go to the farm," or "To the farm!" It would have been nice if they had asked us what to do about Piddles McGee. Like what we wanted. It's the same way it would have been nice to ask us what we wanted about Clarabelle. Every spring, my parents would take pictures of all the kids trying to put their arms around Clarabelle. I mean, by the time I could stand, we could basically do it, but we would always pretend like we couldn't. So there are tons of pictures of us like this, or this, or this. I think there's only one where we're actually doing it. And then in the fall, it would take us weeks and weeks to rake them into a huge pile. And magically, we would never jump into it until it was completely done. Except for 1969, when I was however old I was. And it was my father who suggested that we all lie down in Clarabelle's leaves to listen to the helicopter seed things fall down around us. And of course we couldn't do it. Have you ever tried to lie in a pile of leaves and not make a sound? And there were 8 of us. And whenever we would move, Father would shush us, and then that would make us laugh. And then he would shush us again, which made us laugh even more, and then he started to get angry, which was really funny. And then we started to get in this shushing fight back and forth, which then morphed into the most epic leaf battle the world has ever known. And it went on all day, into the night. I mean, my parents crawled into their bed, put their heads down on pillows that were stuffed full of leaves. So then they took the leaves, came into each of our bedrooms, and tickled us awake with them, demanding to know who had done it. And of course, none of us knew, or at least that's what they said. And every year, somebody will bring it up. I mean, we've even, drawn maps to figure out where everybody was at that moment. What's that treasure? It's somewhere in there. I hope you have a treasure like that to hold on to. This is our dining room table. It seats, with all the leaves in it, 16 uncomfortably. It is April 1969. The world is exploding. And we're about to take our last picture around Clarabelle. It's Tuesday. I know this because Tuesday was Tell Me What You Learned Tuesday. Every night of the week, we had a different theme. We can thank JoJo for that. Monday was, what did you like about the weekend? Highlights. Tuesday, Tell Me What You Learned Tuesday. Wednesday, what did you see that was interesting today? Thursday, woke up! And Friday was, what do you want to do over the weekend? Saturday and Sunday we had off. Yoo-hoo! Time for dinner! That's how Mother called us to every meal. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Picnic at a beach. Fancy hors d'oeuvres at a posh dinner party. Didn't matter when. That's just how she would do it. My father, he would always be the first one at the dinner table, long before Mother called us. He'd be there reading the Washington Post, drinking a vodka dry martini straight up with a lemon twist, followed by a glass of red wine, or 4. Next would be Johnny. He hated being late, and his hands would be neatly washed. After that would be James, myself, or Jess. And last would always be Jenny or Jules. Jules because she just was like tie-dyeing her Barbies or something, weird dance with them. And Jenny because she hated us. I don't know if she hated us, but she definitely hated the table rituals. Who's going to go first? Mama wants to know what you learned today. Oh, for heaven's sake. Jenny, will you just go first? Oh, why do I have to go first? Because you got to the table last. Oh, so I'm being punished for getting to the table last? Well, since when was it a punishment to share with your family about what you learned today? Oh, since like you started this 18,000 years ago. That sound? Oh, we call it the foghorn. Everybody in the family has a sound except for the twins. You've met the foghorn and the siren. There's also Lippity Lipschitz, the mosquito, Professor Duck, Princess Snake. Guess who that is? Well then, Jenny, how about you just decide who goes first? Oh, that's just as bad. You'd think I was asking you to kill your pet pig. That was Mother's favorite saying. Can't Daddy decide who goes first? Lord knows where these children come from. And that was her second favorite saying. Jack, put the paper down. Your daughter Jennifer has requested that you be the one to decide who goes first tonight. Oh, all right. Let's see. Let's go chronological, huh? Eldest to youngest. Well then, honey, I guess it falls back into your lap. No, it doesn't. Daddy's the eldest. Unless you're going by looks, then maybe it's you. You know, sugar. Whenever Mother started anything with, you know, sugar, you knew a sermon was coming. That brain of yours is going to suit you well in Vanderbilt this fall. But if you want to have any semblance of a friend, then you're going to have to learn how to play nice and loose at sass. But don't use all of it. Sass is good. But use it to draw people in, not to hurt them. Jackie boy, put the paper away! Angry Simon. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was reading an article by Bob Woodward in the Post. I mean, he's an excellent writer. Fascinating article. Yes, sirree, Bob. Bob. Yes, sirree, Bob. Bob Woodward. And now you have met Professor Duck. Einstein here has determined that you are the eldest. And guess what? Einstein's right. So she is. All right then. What did I learn today? I learned that the Chicago 8 had been indicted for allegedly starting the riot at the Democratic National Convention last year. There's a special on National Education Television tonight, 8 p.m. Anyone and everyone is welcome to join me. I hated it when he did that. Usurped the TV, and he did it all the time. I mean, it meant that I couldn't hang out with my friends, like I Dream of Jeannie and the Partridge Family. I mean, I had a real friend. His name was Ronnie Rutgers. But nobody called him that. Everybody called him Root Rot Ronnie. It was because he had eczema between his fingers and, like, around his scalp and elbows, back at his knees, basically everywhere. Well, I guess it's my turn. I learned today that Kate and Bill Harrison next door cannot have children, so they are going to adopt. Can you imagine that? Oh, well, you make it sound like it's a bad thing. No, not at all. I think it's a blessed thing that they're doing that. I just couldn't imagine it. Well, why not? Because I'm not sure I could love a child that I didn't carry. Well, that's dumb. Daddy didn't carry us, and he loves us. At least he says he does. Now, that is the kind of sex I am talking about, young lady. And, well, it's a different thing. He's a man, and, oh, never mind. When you have children of your own, you will understand what I'm talking about. Oh, I am definitely not having children, and I am certainly not getting trapped in a loveless marriage. You know what, some lady? I think it would be a wise idea for you to share what you learned today before you dig yourself an even deeper grave. Fine. I learned today that people are assholes. Language! Well, they are. Doesn't matter. Using language like that demeans who you are, makes you seem second class, and is a poor reflection on your family. Use your vocabulary. Okay. I learned today that people are ambulatory sphincters because they smell like feces and have a spineless hypocrite cell in them. Better? Woo, honey, it sounds like you had a rough day. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I just hate people. I hate the world. I hate myself. I just can't wait to leave. You know, sugar. Sermon. That brain of yours, it's going to do you well. But all that stuff, you know, the anger, your frustration, the hurt, your family, some people say that you carry that with you, and that it's always with you until you get rid of it. But I'm not one of those people. I believe that when you get to Vanderbilt, you can turn yourself into whatever you want. A cheerleader, a rock star. You could be a yoga guru. Ooh, don't do that one. But here's the best thing about moving to someplace new. You can leave everything behind. And I mean everything. But my guess is you're going to miss some of it. What about you, Johnny? What'd you learn today? What? Wait, it's my turn? Yes, honey. Pay attention. We're going chronological. Daddy, me, Jenny, now you. That you was a very confusing siren. I mean, it was like part, you're pissing me off, I'm frustrated right now, get it together, and part, I love you, I'm helping you out. Let's see, I learned how to change a timing belt in Mr. Ropatowski's shop class. Woo, that sounds important. It is. If you don't change it at the right time, then your car stops running. Ooh, is that why it's called a timing belt? No, it's called a timing belt because it harmonizes the crankshaft with the camshaft rotation, which enables the pistons to fire correctly and your engine to run. My, and to think I can't get anyone to help me change a light bulb around here. That was one of my favorite parts of my mother, that she would make a joke that was really bad and she would laugh. Mr. Ropatowski, he said that I'm the best mechanic that he's ever had. And now you have met lippity-lip shits. Johnny sound.
Doesn't surprise me at all. When I was your age, I was taking things apart and putting together all the time. It's why I became a chemical engineer. Maybe you'll take after your old man.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You could go to Vanderbilt, join your sister at the same school.
Yeah, but Dad, I like working on cars and...
No buts about it. Either you do it or you don't. It's as simple as that.
That was my father's favorite saying. No buts about it. Either you do it or you don't.
It's as simple as that. And I hear that they have an excellent engineering department there.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Dad. I'll think about it.
Well, that's good, son, because you have a year in which to think about it, and then it'll be your turn to start applying for colleges just like your sister Jenny did.
Yeah, but Dad, I'm probably going to get drafted. And we all looked at my father, expecting him to say no buts about it. Either you do it or you don't. It's as simple as that. But he did. He just sat there with his eyes wide open. My parents were vehemently opposed to the Vietnam War. I mean, whenever there was a march on Washington, and there were like 5 of them, we had tons of people staying in our house. I mean, it's like where I met my first hippie. I had oatmeal with black people, sitting, having conversations. Nobody was doing that. I learned about chakras from some guy in a skirt. A few years before this dinner, my mother was visiting a friend around the corner, and Jenny, Jules, and myself went to get her, and we're walking down Turner Lane. It's like this one-way dead-end road, and we're walking down, and you can't have a one-way dead-end road. Isn't it funny how your brain does stuff like that? Anyway, we're walking down the road, we hear this siren come out behind us, and Jenny pulls us out of the way. This policeman comes up, he rolls his window down and says, "What are you doing walking in the middle of the road?" And Jenny says, "Well, we're getting our mom. She's in the house over there," and we can see her marching out of the house, coming towards us, and the policeman says, "Doesn't matter. Walk on the sidewalk." And Jenny goes, "Well, it's a one-way road." And he says, "Pause or lost, get on the sidewalk." And out comes the foghorn, she rolls her eyes. Oh! And he looks at my sister, Jules, who's wearing this huge button that's white and has in bold red blood lettering, "Make love, not war." And he says, "I bet you don't even know what that means." And she goes, "Yeah, I do. It means we think it's better to make babies than to kill them." And before he can say anything, my mother sashays up and says, "Afternoon, officer. These little rugrats are my children. They're not causing a riot, are they?" And he looks up at her, looks at us, and looks back up at her and says, "Not yet." And off he drives.
I will not have my son fight in that awful war. I fought in a good war. And I had my friends, my brothers in arms, my comrades die next to me, and I will have none of that happening for you in that despicable war. I have solved this. Each of you has a college education fund. I am putting away money for it, and if you, Jonathan, get drafted, I will take you and your money, and we will drive to Canada, and I will set you up there. I've talked this over with friends. You have nothing to worry about. And I remember thinking, Dad has friends?
Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it. What about you, James? What did you learn today?
Well, I learned that I'm going to be playing varsity basketball in the fall.
Ha! Good for you, son! Are there going to be any other sophomores on the team?
No, just me, Dad.
Ha! That's my boy! That's my James!
Jamie, I thought that tryouts weren't until like the end of the school year.
Well, normally they're not, but the coach pulled me aside and asked me to play varsity basketball.
Oh, right. Nice. And tomorrow, he's going to pull you aside and say he wants you to be the team captain.
Funny jest, but that's not how it works.
Oh, well, it is. If your name is Jamie, I don't mean to interrupt this little party here, but honey, did you really learn that? Or did someone, like the coach, just tell you that?
Oh, well, did you really learn about Kay and Bill Harrison, or did one of them just tell you that?
Oh, no, Jenny, yeah. I understand what Mom means. Like,
Yeah, the coach just told me. Maybe the way that Kay told Mom. I mean, mine's good news, theirs isn't. Although, it's going to be great news for some kid, right? I mean, they're going to go into an awesome, great, amazing family. That's so cool. Yeah. Okay, so what did I learn today? Well, I just learned it. Sometimes it's better when you figure stuff out on your own.
Ha! That's my boy! That is called empirical knowledge. I was reading an article about it just yesterday in Newsweek. It was all about experiential education. It's a new form of education where they put the child in the center of the educational experience, and then my father just went off. He loved information. Almost as much as he loved James.
And that was a quintessential golden child moment. I mean, he fucked up, and he turned it into this golden rainbow. I mean, we all hated him for it. We wanted to kill him. We still do. But nobody can, because he's so perfect.
Well, Jesse, what about you? What did you learn today?
Well, I learned how to play Scarborough Fair on the guitar. Oh my God, I love that song. Wait, don't tell me who it's by. Simon Garfunkel. And now you have met the mosquito, a.k.a. Julie's voice.
Oh, well, I'm not familiar with that artist, Simon Garfunkel.
Daddy, it's not an artist, it's two, Simon and Garfunkel.
Well, I am not familiar with either of them or their music.
Yes, you are. You know their music.
No, I don't.
Sure, you know some of their songs.
No, I don't, Jessica.
Yeah, Feeling Groovy?
No.
Here's to You, Mrs. Robinson?
No.
What, The Sounds of Silence?
Jessica! When I say I don't know something, you need to trust me. But maybe you can rectify that tonight. Give us a little concert. After dinner and before my television program.
Oh, well, Daddy, I don't know all of their songs.
Well then, why don't you play the one that you know?
Well, I don't know all of the songs.
Yes. You said you learned the song.
Well, yeah, I just learned part of it.
Well then, why don't you play part of it?
Well, Daddy, that's weird.
I don't know if it's weird or not. I just want to hear you sing.
Well, it's going to sound awful.
Well, whether it's weird or awful, your family is the perfect audience to perform for. The most forgiving and supportive you're ever going to have. Don't you want to hear your sister sing? Don't you want to have a little concert tonight? Huh? Don't you want to have some music? Huh?
Professor Duck never really sounded like that. But sometimes it felt like it. Daddy, I had a lot of homework.
Well, if you only know part of the song, then it's going to be a very short concert.
You will have plenty of time in which to do your homework. Yeah, but Daddy, I'd rather know much about it. Either you do it or you don't.
It's as simple as that.
All right. Then I don't want to do it. Well, you know what my mother used to say? Grab a cookie when it's being passed. Otherwise, there might not be another chance. I understand, Daddy. I just wanted to sound, and I just wanted to have a little concert, Jessica. Hear my daughter sing. Is there anything wrong with that? And when I was your age, if my parents asked me to do something, you can better believe I did it, because that is what respect is. Daddy, it's not that I don't respect you. It's just that... Never mind, Jessica. We are done with this conversation. Oh, I could do it over the weekend. Jessica, we are done. Jules said make a dance show. Did you not hear what I said? We are done. At least respect that, Jessica. Sorry, but the cookies have passed. You've lost your chance. What about you, Jules? Julie, what did you learn today?
Oh, well, I learned, how to do a tour jeté.
Ha! Oh, another thing that I don't know what it is. This is a good Tell Me What You Learned Tuesday. A banner one. 2 things now. What is this tour, whatever, jeté?
Jeté, a tour jeté. It's a dance step.
Well, I knew it was a dance step, Jessica. I may look stupid, but I'm not stupid. I assumed it was a dance step because I pay for many of your dance classes. Perhaps I should have said, what kind of dance is it?
Oh, well, it's ballet, not a mogus class.
Ah, I love ballet.
So do I. It's my favorite class.
Well then, would you like to do your move here?
Here? Now?
Yes.
The tour jeté?
Why not?
Oh, well, okay. I mean, it takes up a lot of room, and it's always at the end of class.
Presenting Julie Johnson, our ballerina.
All right. Well, there's a lot of big music, and okay, never mind. There's a pirouette. That's I forget what it is. That's an arabesque. It's coming up. That's the tour jeté.
Well, that was very good, Julie. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be perfect because you just learned it today. Thank you for trusting your family and for being so brave. I really appreciate it, and I bet your teacher thinks that you are very brave.
Well, Madam Olga said to me today, she said, I could probably be a ballerina.
Well, do you want to be one?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it'll be fun.
You know, sugar.
Thurman. I don't know if it's going to be fun or not, but I know it's going to be hard work. I mean, those girls, they knew that they wanted to be a ballerina since they were 3 years old. And you are 12.
And some of those girls who get lifted in the air, they are sticks. You are not a stick.
You're a full-figured girl, like your mama.
But maybe if you cut back on your second helpings or your desserts, that might make a difference. I know I couldn't. I don't have that kind of discipline.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, that was a cool move. I bet Madame Olga is going to ask you to be Clara in the Nutcracker this fall.
Oh, Mom's right, I'm too big. But I don't want to be Clara. I want to be the Sugar Plum Fairy. Sugar Plum Fairy? Well, what's the Sugar Plum Fairy? Yeah, that was me. And when I said, Sugar Plum Fairy, what's the Sugar Plum Fairy? Everyone in my family should have turned to me and said, you, Flynn, you're the fucking fairy. But if we saw the early signs, we certainly never talked about them.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt this good news and all, but we still have one more person to hear from. Flynn, what'd you learn today?
Well, I don't know if this is learning or not, but Ronnie, he brought over his reel-to-reel tape deck, and he showed me how to use it.
Yeah, bud, that's learning. What'd you record?
Well, we made up a radio station. I mean, it's got like music in it, and commercials, and weather reports, and then Ronnie interviewed me. I pretended to be Judy Garland. And each week, we're going to have a different actress, and I'm going to be the actress each time. And
Glenn, why on earth would you want to be Judy Garland?
because she's famous, and she was in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, and at the jingle that we have made up, it's always going to be based off of the actress that I'm going to be. That's one of the songs from one of the movies that she was in. See if you can guess what movie this one's from. Okay, here's the jingle. You can hear us when you're driving in your car, or when you're drinking at your bar. You can hear us on a transistor radio or on your home stereo. We are the bestest radio station in the whole entire city. We're WWDDT. Every week it's going to be a different jingle. Like next week I'm going to be Marilyn Monroe. And then after that I'm going to be Barbara Streisand. And then it's going to be Bette Midler and this new person, Cher. And
Glenn! Calm down. Why on earth would you be doing that? I mean, your radio station, it's named after poison. Why would you do that? Did you know it was named after poison?
yes.
Well, why would you do that? Because we thought it was funny. Well, it's not. And you're acting like a little girl and you are being silly and you need to stop it. And your radio station, it's got 5 call letters. WWDDT. A radio station has 4, Glenn. 4. You should know that by now.
Daddy, it's his radio station. He could call it WW Suck My Cock if he wanted.
Don't you ever talk to me that way again. Do you hear me? This is my house, my table, my rules, and you better damn well follow them while you live here. And you, Miss, I can't wait to leave. Well, guess what? The feeling is mutual. How rude you are to your mother is unconscionable. The disrespect at this table from the 2 of you is shocking. I did not raise my children to behave like that, and when you do that, you are not my children. I am deeply disappointed in you both. Is this how you want your younger siblings to learn about things like that? And to think I wanted to hear music come out of that disgusting mouth. Get upstairs. Now!
Jess stood up. And instead of going the most direct route to the stairs, she walked past my father, past Jenny, past me, and put her hand on my shoulder and said, I think WWDDT is fantastic, just like you, friend. And if you want me to record Scarborough Fair for your radio show at any point, I will. Even tonight. We learned a lot on that Tell Me What You Learned Tuesday. Like a lifetime. My father, he learned that the image he had imagined that some of his children would grow into, that some of us weren't going to fit into that picture. Jojo, she learned that something needed to change or something bad was going to happen. Jenny, she learned that the people you love the most sometimes can be the biggest assholes. Johnny, he learned that he didn't want to go to college. He wanted to become a mechanic. James learned that Jess was way more powerful than he was, and just learned that sometimes good guys finish last. Jules, she learned how to throw up. And me, I learned about sex. Late that night, after my father's television program was over, he came into my bedroom after everyone was asleep, woke me up and said, "It's time you learn about the birds and the bees." Now, this last pose is called Shavasana. And it is my favorite pose. And some people think that it is the hardest pose in all of yoga. But, Jenny, oh my God, I can't do a hard pose. You like kick my ass with this yoga shit. Relax, Flynn. Shavasana translates to corpse pose. All you have to do is lie there and do nothing. Oh, well, that doesn't sound so hard. Just wait. I mean, when I was doing my yoga training, I complained about Shavasana all the time. What? Shavasana again? I mean, the fog line was there almost every day. Until one of my teachers finally said, if you want to experience any kind of transformation, Shavasana is the way. That kind of sounds like a cult. Shut up and lie down. And that's what they say in a cult. I am ignoring you. You know, I'm only 17. Is this legal? Lie down, Flynn. So, what I want you to do is go back to paying attention to your breath. And lie down. And I want you to imagine that your body is sinking. And just notice what part of your body is touching the floor and where is there space. Dang, I have to say, you were so different. I mean, is that because of this yoga stuff? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it could be because I'm out of the clutches of this crazy house. Do I think different? No, not really. Oh. Well, do you want to be different? I don't know. Well, maybe you want things to be different. I don't know. Well, then why don't we just bring that into the Shavasana? It's like a meditation. So lie back down, and in a moment I'm going to ring a chime, and what I want you to do is to imagine that you are diving off a high dive and landing in your subconscious, and where you come up, who knows? And here's the hard part. Don't judge anything. Just allow it to come to you. And maybe you'll discover something that you want different. Why is it so cold? Why are there so many people? Oh my God, why are they all drunk? I'm in Times Square! Oh my God, it's New Year's Eve and... hey Scott? Yeah, right? I mean, your slice, it took forever. What'd you do? Have to make the pizza yourself? Oh my God, I'm on a date with Scott. And I think it's New Year's Eve, and it's going to be like our first... Yeah, I know, it's freezing. Maybe we should just, stand closer together, because it's so cold. Oh my god, I suck at this. What? 10, 9, 8, 7, you just turned into a slice of pizza. What kind of pizza did you get, Scott? No, I love pizza. I like it. That's cool. Yeah. 6, 5. Pizza hand holding my hand. 4. Oh, I don't know. What is that? 3. It's like flying right at us. 2. Wow! Hi, Mom. This is Scott. Scott doesn't normally look like a slice of pizza. Normally he's my friend, Scott. Scott and I, we're on a date. Oh, yeah. Scott, this is my mom. Normally she doesn't look like a dragon. Normally she looks like my mom. Jojo. It's a nice outfit, Mom. You look good. Piddles? Wait, you saw Piddles? Piddles McGee is our dog that my mom, it's a long story. Yeah, let's go find Piddles. You want to go find my dog, Piddles McGee? Come on. Whoa! Whoa! Oh my God! Yeah. Pizza arms around me. Nice. Oh my God, the Statue of Liberty! We're flying! Mom, we're flying! You can fly! Ah, this is so cool. What? I don't know. Ew. I don't know. What is that? Hey, Mom, can you see that thing over there? It's like, I don't know what it is. It's like a slug or something. It's like crawling. Mom, can you go a little faster? It's like crawling towards us. Mom, it's getting bigger. It's like got tentacles now. I don't know. It's like made out of wet toilet paper. Mom, you'll have to go faster. Can't you see something? Oh, please, no. Get off. Get off. Get off of me! Get off of me! Stop it! Stop it! He's dead. You killed him. I didn't know you could shoot pepperoni, Scott. That's cool. Yeah, let's get out of here. I don't know. Where do you want to go? Oh, no. Let's go to Dunbarton Oaks. That was fast. Did you do that? Did I? I don't know. Oh, it's really cool because there are gardens here. And then there are like these grottos that are secret that are... Oh. Hi, Scott. You're back. Yeah, the grottos. They're like there are these willow trees that hang down. Oh, yeah, we can go there. Hang over them. And I know it's so soft. It's moss, and it's like a bed or something. I mean, it's not a bed, but it's like soft. And she is crazy, totally. Oh, yeah. I mean, even when she's not a dragon, she's totally crazy. And she like completely interrupted our countdown. Now? Okay. Why not? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just slowly start to move your fingers and toes. And your wrists. And when you're ready, roll on over to the side and push yourself up. And open your eyes when you want, Flynn. So, how was that? Did you discover anything? No. Really? Yeah. No. I didn't. I think I just fell asleep. Oh, okay. Well, sometimes that happens. But you know, Flynn, if there is something that you ever want to tell me about what you want different, you can tell me. And I won't send you to the farm. You promise? Yeah, buddy. I promise. Yoga was good for Jenny. I mean, really good. Like, none of us ever thought she would turn into that. When Jonathan got back from Vietnam, we all met him at the hospital. It was Walter Reed, which is like right around the corner practically from where my parents lived. And even though we knew what had happened to him, none of us were prepared for what we saw. It was his eyes that got me. They were empty, vacant. It was like he was missing. And it was my family that brought him back. We found him and we brought him back. We visited him all the time. I mean, my junior high school was like a 10-minute bike ride from Walter Reed. I would go there after school almost every day. I loved it. I mean, there were 1,500 soldiers, so young and vulnerable, and helping each other, like in wheelchairs, and up and down stairs, and they were outside, they were in the hallways. You could walk down, and if somebody's door was open, you could look in and see them in their bedroom. They were in waiting rooms, and day rooms, and rehab rooms, the cafeteria, everywhere. It was like I was in a field of broken butterflies. With their wings torn or ripped off, their bodies crumpled, legs missing. And I just wanted to hold them, hug them, and say, "You're beautiful just the way you are, and everything is going to be okay." But of course I didn't do that. I never even talked to them. And when I look back, I realize that that's what I wanted someone to do to me. And it's what we all want, isn't it? For someone to hold us and say, "You're beautiful, just the way you are, and everything is going to be okay." And then to believe it. When I got to Johnny's room one time, I got there way earlier than I normally do, and I opened the door and the curtain was drawn. And there was some man in there. It wasn't his roommate, it was like a psychiatrist or a chaplain, and he was there to find out if Johnny was suicidal or not. And I didn't say anything. I mean, I should have let him know that I was there, but I was in 8th grade. And I just leaned against the door and listened. It was like I got to crawl into his psyche. Jonathan, he started an organization called Veterans Who Had Lost Limbs. And it wasn't a support group, no. That is definitely not his way. It was an advocacy group. You know, for like how to negotiate the VA system, how to get the medications you need, or grants for monies. And he started reviewing prosthetics. And he got his mechanical mind. And he even started designing prosthetics. Miss James is the golden child of our family. Johnny, here's the shooting star. Whoa, I am sorry, but I have to put my homosexual foot down. The three of us are not going to drive to Mexico in your rust bucket. Why not, Flynn? I love my car. I don't care if you want to marry it, Jules. One bump and the three of us will fall through. Is it a requirement that all homosexuals are so dramatic? Duh! And might I remind you, Jules, that it was your hat that fell through the very hole of the floor in this car. Boom! Oh, Mr. Boots. Oh, right. Well, what about your car, Flynn? Can we go in that? Earth to Jules. I don't own a car, remember? I live in the city. Oh, yeah. Well, what about you, Jess? You have a huge car. It could hold all of our camping equipment. We could even sleep in there. No. You think that we can take my car? I am lucky to be getting away from George and the kids for 3 weeks. There's no way he's going to let us take our car. Well, then, we could do the switcheroo. And he can have your car, and, we can have your car, and then we can take his car, and just shut up. We are not going to do that. I'm sorry, but my homosexual aesthetics will not allow me to step foot in it's a box thing with the wheels, and it's got that sliding door. You mean a minivan? Oh, don't even say it. It hurts. Well then, what do you recommend, Princess Snake? That we walk to Mexico? Jules, you need to get out of the dance studio more often. There is something called an airplane. Buddy, she doesn't have a lot of money. She's a dancer. I am right here and I can hear you, and no, I am not a multi-millionaire making marketing machine mogul moo man. Nice alliteration. And I am not a multi-millionaire. Not yet. My accountant says in about 4 or 5 years. Okay, yes, I will buy us tickets to Mexico, but on one condition, that we do not camp. Shh. I am a delicate flower. Camping in Mexico will kill me. Okay, then yes, I will get us hotel rooms and I am going to choose them. Well, thank you, buddy. It's very nice and very generous, but we still have the car issue. Okay, I will rent the car too. Oh, did you just see that? The two of them just looked at each other and they didn't think I saw it, but I did. Did you see that? How could you not see that? It was so obvious. It was like they looked at each other with this glint, this knowing eye, a sort of triumph, and it was at that moment that I realized that the two of them had been planning this whole thing, that they had orchestrated this entire conversation so that I would foot the bill to Mexico. My sisters are wily bitches. You have been warned. And I was happy to pay the price. I mean, I'd have done double the admission to go to Mexico with these two Looney Tunes. And I don't remember which one suggested it, but we all jumped at the chance to go to Mexico. Jess, she wanted to get better at Spanish. Jules, she wanted to learn folklorico dance, and I wanted to study some Mayan ruins. But it was on the plane trip down that the real reasons came out. Jess wanted to forget about her husband. Jules wanted to find a husband, and I wanted to fuck a husband. And the first of many squeals occurred when they saw the Thelma and Louise car that I had rented for us. And it was Jess who ran out and got the appropriate accoutrements. And once we put them on, we stopped wearing our seatbelts and we started to talk about God. And it was on this trip that we saw God. Our first week was in Oaxaca, Mexico, where Jules went off to the Oaxacan Conservatory to study folklorico and to find a husband. Our second week was spent in the Yucatan Peninsula, tracing about Mayan ruins and searching for a husband for me to fuck. Our third week was at Club Med Cancun, where the tile work on the floor was the most exquisite inlaid thing that I had ever seen. And it went out onto the balcony that overlooked the Caribbean. It was there that Jeff said, if I die here, leave me here, because this is heaven. And it was then that we saw God in the shape of a man. The most exquisite creature any of us had ever seen. And that down right there were our three clenched jaws hitting the tile floor. As we leaned over the balcony and we saw the ass of God. And it was then that the concierge appeared and said, oh, that's Jose. He's our massage therapist. And if you want, you can sign up for a massage from him at the front desk. What followed was a Keystone Cop routine of a roller derby match. I won. There were only two casualties. Some old lady and a toddler in a stroller. It was good that we were there for a full week because each of us got to experience the hands of God. And Jess was right. This place was heaven. And it was on the drive to the airport that Jess said, well, I have accomplished my mission. Mi español es mucho mejor. Y mi hablado suficiente de Jorge como para tener ganas de verlo. Comprende? I've gotten better at Spanish. And I've forgotten enough about George that I'm actually looking forward to seeing him. What about you two ladies? How do you do? I got better at folklorico. Well, we all went to Mayan ruins, but I had sex with God. Wait, you had sex with God? Whoa, no, yeah, you had sex with Jose? Yeah. Why is that so hard to fathom? Because I had sex with Jose. Oh, so did I. Holy shit! All three of us had sex with God. Oh my God. Oh, it's kind of like we had sex with each other. Well, you know what they say, incest is best. And I thought, no. No, it's not. Incest is not best. incest turns you into a toxic waste dump from which you will never, ever feel clean. But I didn't say that. Instead, I said, excusez-moi, I am not a part of this ménage à trois because I had sex with Jose first. It is now a ménage à duo between you two. My sisters are now lesbian lovers. Ooh, to the farm. And it was on the plane ride home that we started talking about sex, like penises and orgasms and positions, gag reflexes, I mean like the whole gamut. And it was the perfect ending, to a perfect trip. And it was on that flight that I decided that I would never ever tell anyone in my family about what happened to me.
Hey, sorry, I'm running late. I was at practice, and well, so here's my audition notice for Macbeth. I'm not supposed to say Macbeth. I said it again. My name's James Johnson. That was my sister who said that I shouldn't say Macbeth. It's like, it curses the show? I mean, is that what you believe? Oh, right. Stage manager said you wouldn't talk. Is that to make me more nervous? Yeah, because you don't need to. It was my sister, the same one, who said, you need to do something that you suck at, and it terrifies you. And then when I saw the audition notice for the thing, I said, that'll do it. You're not even going to laugh, are you? Okay, I guess that means I need to go. Right, so my monologue is from McDonald's play. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow creaked in this petty pace until the last syllable of recorded time, and all the yesterdays have lighted fools away to death. No, dusty death. Sorry. Out! Breathe candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A mere player that frets and stretches out. That stretches and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, signifying nothing. No! It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. That sucked. I am so sorry. I wouldn't hire me if I were you. You don't hire, do you? No, you don't. You cast. Well, I wouldn't do that either. Okay, hey, thanks. My brother, I don't listen to this kind of music. My brother made the tape for me. Woo! Jess is gonna love this. She's not my girlfriend, that's my sister, Jess. Okay, hey, don't call me, I'll call you. You're not even gonna smile, are you? Okay. I think you're hot. And if you want to go out on a date, you've got my contact info. Give me a call. To have a cup of coffee, a conversation. That way, I get to hear your voice.
And yes, of course, she called him. And yes, of course, they got married. And yes, they have 3 perfect children. It was so great to help him with that monologue. He was awful at it, and that felt so good. And he didn't care that he was awful. It didn't faze him at all that he sucked. Yes, my mother would say, imagine that. Whoo-wee! It is good to get away.
Whenever we go anywhere, Jack always says, "You take half the house with you." He's right, I do. My purse is like a suitcase, and my suitcase is a veritable trunk. And the reason why I carry so much stuff with me is because if we go somewhere and we need something, I'm going to want to have it. And I do not want to go out and buy the very doodad that we had left at home. And I do not want to go home and find 14 half-use boxes of Q-tips there because I didn't bring them with me in the first place. And if I didn't bring them with me, then all I'd have is a suitcase full of wishes. And what kind of vacation is that, Jack? Wishes. My mama used to say, be careful what you wish for. I think wishes are for fools. I once saw a bumper sticker that said, a wish is an aborted dead fantasy in the making. I'm not sure I know what that means, but I like it. Daddy, he would say, a wish is a prayer waiting to be sent to heaven. Daddy was a preacher at Trinity Episcopal Church, New Orleans, right smack in the middle of the Garden District. I mean, it was a fancy church. All kinds of money was there. But do not let that fool you. There were all kinds of shenanigans there as well. I remember clear as yesterday. I was 8 years old. Doors in the narthex slam open, and in comes this man dressed to the nines. He is marching on down and mumbling and grumbling. He gets his 2 boys and he says, this world stands no matter what we do. So I ain't gonna have my boys listening to this fucking bullshit. Whew. And then he marched them right out of there, leaving his wife sweating in shame. And my daddy just kept on preaching. And then, 2 minutes later, up she pops singing, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. And the congregation started to join in. And she kept on singing, verse after verse, more than the congregation joined in. And by the end, I mean, people were harmonizing, lifting her out of her pool of shame, hands up to heaven, a big old hallelujah, amen. And at the end, Daddy didn't drop a beat. He said, yes, sometimes the world is full of fucking bullshit. And sometimes you can hear the grace of God falling down the stairs next to you. My daddy was a good man. He died on the pulpit 2 years after he married Jack and me. Heart attack, like that. That's all we all want to go, isn't it? Fast. And of course, everybody wanted to eulogize him. Reverend Thompson, he would walk into a room, it would light up with the light of the Lord. The fire of Jesus burned in that man. Ooh, the glory of God. He glowed with that. If they only knew why he glowed. Daddy was part lightning bug. I mean it. Last 2 weeks of May, first week of June, he would take me on down like clockwork, 8 to 10 p.m. every night, to, what was that park called? Oh, Lake Califoochee. And there are these forests there, and a big open field, and there was a lake, and it was like the stars from heaven had fallen down. Right there, everything was shimmering. And he would step out onto the field, and they would all swim on over to him, circling around him, all these lightning bugs. 14 billion of them were there. Now there's probably only 2. And hundreds would swim around him, and not a one would come to me. each time we would go down there, I would try and get them in a different way. I would sing to them. I would tell them a story. I brought them food. I would run after and chase them. I would pray to do this. I would help wish and stick my hands out and say, please, please, please. One time I remember bringing, it's one of those jars. What is it? It's not a mayonnaise jar, a mason jar. Trying to catch one, put food in it, but no, not one. One time I fell down in the grass, crying. And Daddy came over, he scooped me up and he said, you know, children, sometimes you have to let go of life to catch it. Of course, I didn't know what that meant back then. But I do now. I learned that lesson the hard way. It's all right, honey. It's all right. It's okay. Mother was a lot like Clarabelle.
Strong, big, colorful, a lot of work, and cut down too soon. She taught me a lot. How to laugh out loud. How to throw a great party. How to bounce back until you can't anymore. I've yet to learn how to let go of life to catch it. That's boo-boo. I got boo-boo on my 14th birthday. I know, way too old to get it done. Stop. I got him a couple of years after China had gifted the National Zoo Ling Ling and Sing Sing, the first pandas to come to the United States. And for some reason, my father and I bonded over them, and we would go to the National Zoo all the time to see them. At least, that's what we said we were doing. Sometimes we would go to his office. Or to the park. Sometimes we would do it in his car. Dad, I think we should probably get one of those large, giant pandas, so that people think we're actually going to the National Zoo. And when we did it in my bedroom, this one just sat there and watched. He never said anything. When Jonathan, he'd been living with us for a while, my parents got him an apartment and they helped him move in, and he was having a really hard time settling in. And they would go there all the time to help him, and there was one night when my mother decided to stay. And nobody else was home. So I knew what was going to happen. And when my father pulled into the driveway, I went upstairs to my bedroom. And when he poured himself a drink, I started to get him dressed. And as he poured himself drink after drink, I just lay there, naked, on my bed, with a pillow over my face, because that's how we liked it. And in a sick, fucked up way, it was hot. Lying there completely exposed, not being able to see anything. And waiting to hear my door. That night, after my father came inside me, he started to cry, like sob, wailing, convulsing, crying, and he fell on my chest. And I didn't know what to do. So I just held him. And then I said, "It's not your fault, Dad." And he immediately pulled out of me, grabbed my underwear, cleaned himself off, threw it at me, and said, "And don't you forget that." And as he got to my door, I said to him, "I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about Jonathan." When my father died, I flew home, and I got there before he died. He refused to go to the hospital, so we had set up 24/7 hospice care. And I got there, and I ended up staying in my bedroom. And the next day, when nobody was around, I walked into his bedroom. He was so thin. It was like he was a paper doll. And I said to him, "Dad, I know you can hear me." And a parent is supposed to protect their child, but you didn't. You made my life hell. And I don't even believe in hell. But I know you do. And because of that, you're going there. And maybe you wouldn't if you had ever apologized to me or said that you were sorry or asked for forgiveness, but you didn't. And now you can't speak. So my guess is you think you're going to eternal damnation, which is probably why you're still alive. And I can't forgive you. But that's not what's important. What's important is that you forgive yourself. And good luck doing that. But I didn't say any of that. I just stood there and looked at him. And the next day, when nobody else was around, I went into his bedroom, and one of his eyes was just barely open, and I said to him, "Dad, I know you can hear me." And there are some people who say that you're never free until your parents are dead. Guess what? I am going to be free soon. And when I am, I'm going to go to the nearest karaoke bar and I'm going to sing a song made famous by Barbra Streisand. Happy days are here again. The sun is out. It's clear again. So let's sing a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again. But I didn't say any of that. I just stood there and held his hand The next day, when nobody was around, I walked into his room. And he smelled like medicine and rotten meat. And I said to him, Dad, I know that you can hear me. And I wanted to say to you that I love you. I wanted to say that to you because I wanted that to be the last thing that you hear. And because you never said it to me. And I never said it to you. And what you did to me was not love. But I can't say that because I don't love you. But what I can say is, thank you. Thank you for giving me life. It's an extraordinary gift. And for that, and only that, I can say, I love you. But I didn't say that. I just crawled into bed with him and held him. And the next day, he was dead.